Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is starting to play out this oversold signal as the price is also now playing out this short-term bullish divergence. And on top of that, the Bitcoin ETF outflows have now just officially reversed, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum as always, which is now starting to play out a new bullish divergence in the short term, while the price of XRP is also playing out this oversold signal. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before we take a look at the Bitcoin charts today, taking a look at some Bitcoin news today, looking at the Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows, because first of all, in case you're new to the channel, over the last couple of weeks, we've seen pretty much constant outflows from the Bitcoin ETFs, causing a lot of sell pressure over the last 1 to 2 weeks. And in fact, just earlier this week on Tuesday, we saw the worst day in history for the spot Bitcoin ETFs, with a net outflow of over $1.1 billion in a single trading day. And then that record net outflow was also followed by a record outflow for specifically the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF on Wednesday. And then that was also followed by another net outflow on Thursday. But as we could see, ever since Tuesday, the outflows were slowly reducing in size. And then on Friday, we finally saw the first net inflow that we've seen in a couple of weeks. And so obviously it's not a massive inflow. It's only around 94 million, which relative to these other outflows like over $1 billion, obviously 94 million is not all that significant. But of course, the significant thing about this is that we're finally seeing a break or potential reversal from all of these constant outflows. And as always, because the stock market's closed over the weekend, the Bitcoin ETFs do not trade over the weekend, which means we have no new inflows or outflows over the weekend. So we're ending the week obviously with at least some good news in regards to these flows for the Bitcoin ETFs. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin price charts today, looking at this 4-day time frame, technically speaking, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, but getting very close to possibly flipping into the red again, as I've talked about recently here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we still have this massive bearish crossover playing out in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And this signal already confirmed roughly around 1 month ago. And the last couple of times we confirmed this signal on this Bitcoin indicator on this time frame, we did end up seeing either a short-term correction or dump, or potentially more of a bearish trend in the price of Bitcoin over a period of weeks or months. And so just be aware that right now, the larger price structure, at least when we're talking about the next few weeks or months, is still not looking too great, despite the fact that we are seeing a bit of a short-term bullish relief just in the shorter term, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And so just don't expect the price of Bitcoin to pump straight up towards new all-time highs within the next couple of weeks or so, because that is extremely unlikely, very unrealistic. Obviously, anything's possible, but that's just very, very unlikely. And especially when we have this massive bearish divergence on the weekly Bitcoin chart already confirmed and starting to play out, as I've said, over the last 1 month, approximately 1 to 2 months here. And so ultimately, this is telling us we should not be expecting any significant bullish momentum. Yes, we can see little short-term bounces here and there, but not massive momentum towards the upside like what we saw, for example, in November last year. And so ultimately, when we're talking about the next few weeks or months, we're still looking neutral to bearish, which means we could either form more of a massive sideways price range or potentially a little bit more of a correction in the price of Bitcoin within the next few weeks or months. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin chart, of course, we still have this next significant area of support sitting in between around 70,000 to 74,000, mainly based on previous significant resistance becoming new support. And we also have a lot of traded volume around that area, as I've talked about recently here on the channel. And as for resistance, if we continue this short-term bounce, I would expect a lot of resistance at close towards 90,000 to 92,000, basically in the lower 90k area based on previous significant support. I'd now expect a lot of resistance around there if we actually make it up there again. But for now, just in the somewhat shorter term, the price of Bitcoin is starting to play out this oversold signal, as shown here in the daily Bitcoin RSI. As I've been talking about over the last couple of days, I've said we are running out of room towards the downside just in the immediate short term, and we're now due to see either a bit of a bullish relief or at the very least just some sideways price action. So basically a bit of a break or relief from all of this bearish price action here for most likely a number of days, maybe around a week or two potentially, like what we saw back here. But this does not guarantee that we've hit the bottom. For example, we can play out a slight little relief or a break from all of the bearish price action, and then perhaps in a week or two from now, after we reset the RSI, it's possible we can actually move towards the downside again when the RSI is reset. And so once again, this is not a bullish trend reversal signal, but what it does mean is that we are likely going to see finally a bit of a relief from all of this bearish price action just in the shorter term here. And before talking about some other important Bitcoin charts today, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm starting to take more of my trades over on 2bit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive bonuses simply just by using that link to make your account. For example, you can get a brand new Mercedes-Benz or $50,000 in trading bonuses here, simply just by trading crypto using that link. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, for one of the smaller traders, for example, there is also some decent bonuses just by using that link. Like for example, a $30 sign up bonus or a 20% deposit rebate. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus straight into your new account. And on top of all of that, if you use the link below this video to make your 2bit account, you are also automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees, lowered trading fees over on 2bit, but only if you use the link below this video. And also, in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there is also Bitfinex as another exchange out there, another option that I also trade on. So I will also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And by the way, using that link, you can get some massive bonuses over on Bitfinex as well. And also, in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange as well. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term Bitcoin price action here, looking just on the 4-hour time frame, we're continuing to play out this short-term bullish divergence as I talked about in my last video. And so as we can clearly see, the price of Bitcoin's already confirmed lower lows while the RSI has confirmed higher lows, which is of course a bullish divergence, meaning we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or at the very least just some sideways price action over the next couple of days or so. And when we combine this bullish divergence with the fact that we hit oversold, very oversold on the daily RSI, once again, this is all telling us that we're likely going to see a bit of a relief from all of this bearish price action, but not necessarily the complete end of all of this bearish price action. Maybe just a bit of a short-term pause for a week or two, and then possibly continuing a little bit lower later on, because we still have some major liquidity that's sitting at some lower 70k levels. But if we're looking at the shorter term in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we actually have some short-term liquidity just above the price of Bitcoin. First of all, at around 87,000 and also at around 90,000. So those are the levels towards the upside that I'm paying attention to. We also have another level at around 96,500 to 96.8k approximately, but it is pretty unlikely we'll go straight all the way up there without seeing any sort of rejection, for example, from, let's just say, around 91k. That will likely act as significant resistance, so just keep that in mind. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Ethereum on this weekly time frame, right now the price of ETH is obviously still looking very bearish. When we're looking at the larger price structure here, we've seen a massive breakdown in the price structure, breaking below a multi-year line of support that has been support since the middle of 2022. But we are currently running into very important horizontal support based on previous support in the price and also previous resistance acting as new support, and that's sitting at approximately 2.1k to 2.2k. And in fact, if we're taking a look at this 3-day Ethereum chart, we have the all-important golden pocket area of support sitting in between 2150 to 2.2k. So that is definitely the important area of support to pay attention to. to, which at least for now, we are finding support in that area. But if we confirm a break below around 2150 and especially below 2.1k, in that case, would likely see a drop down towards around 1880 approximately, just below 1.9k, and below that level I'd be targeting 1.5k if obviously we first break below these other points of support. And as for resistance, I'd still expect significant resistance at closer towards around 2,500 and also at 2.8k. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, just over the last 1 day or so, we've now officially confirmed a new bullish divergence on the 4-hour Ethereum chart, with lower lows obviously already confirmed in the price and higher lows now confirmed in the 4-hour Ethereum RSI. So this tells us that we're likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes or most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. But considering the fact that this is only on the 4-hour time frame, I'd not necessarily expect this to play out over months, for example. It would likely just play out over a few days, maybe a week max, but just be aware of the fact that this is only a short-term bullish relief based on this short-term bullish divergence. But when we're looking at the larger price structure, technically we have just seen a major bearish breakdown in this larger price structure here when we're talking about what we could be expecting over the next few months. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the weekly time frame, right now Solana is obviously still breaking below this very important ascending line of support, which is still sitting at around $165 approximately. But we also have important horizontal support based on these previous lows, acting as significant support back here, sitting in between around $120 to $130. And as we can see, that's pretty much exactly where the price is currently bounced from, as expected, as I've been talking about since before this bounce happened. And so technically speaking, based on this massive rising wedge pattern breaking towards the downside, we do have a major bearish price target at approximately $90. But just be aware of the fact that we still have that significant support at 120 to 130, which is currently, at least in the short term, preventing the price from going lower. And if we're zooming into the somewhat shorter term, looking at the daily time frame, right now the price of Solana is also finding support in this area in between around 133 to 139, and we also have support in this area in between 123 to 125. And also just in the shorter term, we're currently playing out a bit of an oversold signal here in the daily Solana RSI. In fact, this is the first oversold signal that has confirmed on this daily Solana chart in months, in a very long time. So of course, it is very normal to see a bit of a bounce, just a bit of a break from all of the bearish price action to help to reset the RSI back towards the upside. So that's currently what we're seeing here in the short term. But like I've said throughout this video and recent videos here on the channel, an oversold signal by itself is not necessarily a bullish trend reversal signal. It does not guarantee that we're at the bottom. It just means we're going to see a slight little pause from all of the bearish price action, and then we can potentially resume the bearish price action later on. And especially if we're looking at the trend and momentum for Solana, obviously, as I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, the short-term trend and momentum or price structure is clearly bearish. And as for resistance, we still have a lot of resistance at around 156 to 161, and also in between 178 to 183. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, right now XRP is still playing out this massive bearish divergence. Technically speaking, this larger price structure on the daily time frame is currently bearish. We are forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below support levels and rejecting from resistance levels, which is all bearish price structure. But for now, we have found a lot of support in between $1.95 to $2.05. In fact, we bounced from pretty much exactly $1.95 as expected. And it's quite possible the price, maybe just over the next few days, could play out a bit of sideways price action within this sideways price range in between that area of support that I just said and this area of resistance based on previous support becoming new resistance. And that's sitting in between $2.25 to $2.30. Once again, shouldn't help be acting as resistance. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 3-hour XRP chart, we're clearly also also playing out an oversold signal. And if we're looking at the last couple of times we confirmed an oversold signal on this time frame, we did see a bit of a short-term bullish relief, but not necessarily a reversal out of this bearish trend. And so potentially over the next couple of days, it's possible we could continue playing out either a bit of choppy sideways price action or maybe a little bit more of a bullish relief, perhaps up towards this resistance in between 225 to 230. But especially while the price is below that area, I'd not really be flipping overly bullish again, at least in the short term. And obviously this larger price structure is still bearish. It's just over the next couple of days, we might be a little bit neutral or maybe see a slight little relief, basically just a pause from the bearish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, as of right now, Chainlink has technically just confirmed one daily candle close slightly below this golden pocket area of support, sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. And so unless we can very quickly see a confirmed breakout back above that area, technically we have already now started to break below that area, which is obviously a bearish signal for Chainlink. And the next significant area of support towards the downside is sitting at around $12.80. So really at close to $13 and just underneath $13, that is the next major support. And if we broke below that level, then in that case, we'd likely see a drop down towards around $10 if we first break below these other points of support. And as for resistance, we could now potentially find resistance within this golden pocket sitting in between 1490 to 1550. But if we can very quickly see a confirmed breakout back above 1550, basically temporarily at least avoiding this break towards the downside, in that case we still have significant resistance in between around $17.50 to $18. And of course the larger price structure, as I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, is still clearly bearish. We are forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below support levels and rejecting from resistance levels, which is all bearish price structure. But remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that you can only claim using those links. And if you want to actually know how to profit from crypto, no matter what the price is doing, you can do that by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.